Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. This is episode 5 of Housing Houston. I am Kayla Ewald, your co-host from First American Title.
And I am Mariela Aguirre with Terra Residential Services, your other co-host. And today we are talking taxes, and this impacts every single one of us. So we have no way around it. So we have a tax professional here local, and she knows Houston and especially Pearland. So we are going to introduce Rolanda Watson.
Hey Rolanda.
Hey,
hello everybody.
How are you?
I am doing well. How are you ladies?
Good.
Thanks for coming here.
Thank you for having me.
Ready to talk finances and money with the taxes here.
Yes.
And some of us, it can be a headache for a lot of us, unless you have a profession that can handle everything. She's personally my tax professional. I don't deal with none of that, so I let her take care of my own portfolio and profile. But Rolanda, tell us a little bit about you.
Oh, me. Aside from taxes, and I'll include taxes, I am a mother of one handsome young man. He's 15 years old. My husband and I have been together, I don't want to date myself, we're high school sweethearts.
Oh my goodness.
And we are going, this year was 28 years of marriage and 34 years together.
Congrats.
So thank you so much. So we have, that is our family as a whole. We love spending time together as a family. Now, as my son is getting older, my husband and I find ourselves spending time with each other, and he's just somewhere in the house.
Do you still like him?
I do like him. I've just learned how to be a supportive mom.
Yes,
There you go.
yes.
And then the guys do whatever the guys are going to do.
Love that.
So I've had to switch my role and be good with it.
Mhm.
And I'm good with it.
Yeah.
So that's me as a whole, other than doing what I do with my business, which is all things taxes. And my family, that's me. That's me.
Cool.
How long have you been doing taxes? Why don't you tell us a little bit about where you started, why you started doing this profession?
Yes, I've been doing taxes full-time since 1996.
Wow.
Part-time 1994. And it started with my mom. So my mom has been doing taxes, and I said, okay, let me help. Let me, do the front desk work or whatever. So I started helping with her, ending up loving it. I love puzzles. I love figuring out different things, but I don't like bookkeeping and accounting where I'm looking for a dollar.
Okay.
When I was in school, I took a bookkeeping class. I was good at it, but when you had to look for the little penny or the dollar, in my mind, I was like, I could just give you a penny. I can give you a dollar. So that was my issue with that. But we started off there. Tax practice grew, worked with her until 2018. I wanted another group of people to work with. I wanted to expand what we were offering. So I started my own practice in 2018. After that point, I became an enrolled agent because I wanted to represent people and I wanted to just help people get in a better place with their money. Many people just don't know what we don't know. And so I wanted to help in that end. So I became an enrolled agent, and we can talk about that a little bit more if you want to. And then from there, I am here doing podcasts, doing interviews, helping people, talking to people about what I love. And that's taxes. And most people don't like taxes, but like I said, it is my puzzle to fix. And
Well,
that's what I
I think it's in your blood.
Mm-hmm.
If your mom,
Yes.
if you grew up watching your mom with this profession and then you got into it's in your blood. And funny story, I also got into title because of my mom.
Love
so
it,
why
love
do we
it.
do this to ourselves? Why do we do
I don't know if we should turn back to them and say thank you, or
Yes.
you shouldn't have done that.
Right. Yeah. How did you introduce me to this?
I love that though.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's wonderful.
So we are coming up to Q4. Well, we are in Q4
Right.
now, October 2nd or 3rd actually. So now we're in that mode of the year's finishing.
Mhm.
We're getting the ball rolling to prepare for 2025.
Right.
So what can both investors and homeowners do at this moment as far as real estate goes to prepare for their tax professional to be ready, right? So what can they do in preparation so that they're not having to, scour up every receipt and paper, come January?
So I want to talk to you from two perspectives with that. First of all, if you want to prepare your receipts or your bookkeeping or getting your books and your records together, this is a great time to do that. You want to start with the beginning of the year. And I like to tell my clients who are not doing bookkeeping, go back through your bank account. That helps you go back through your year. You'll be like, oh, I remember when that happened. Oh, I remember when this happened. Oh, I did pay for that. And that's a write-off. So do that and have a spreadsheet with you so that you can go back through that year. Another thing that you can do, and then of course nothing takes the place of accounting services, having a system where you're keeping your records. But some people don't do that, honestly. So if you have that spreadsheet, you go back through the bank account, you remember those times. Another thing that you can do is if you're not commingling, you can just take that bank statement and just put it through like a scanning system that you have, and some apps will pull out business expenses for you that you've been using. You can look at your expenses in your area. In the real estate profession, you definitely you can go through your MLS. You can look at your professional areas and get those things that you know you've been using for your business. And please, my real estate professionals, get that mileage together.
Get that mileage
Get
together.
Mileage together. Let's start on it now.
If they take away one thing from this podcast,
Get
real
the
estate
mileage
agents.
together.
Oh, yes.
The reason why that's so important, in your profession in real estate, you are moving. It's about location, location, location. In taxes, it's about document, document, document. So if you have your mileage, if you don't have an app that you're using, there are great apps out here that you can use. If you don't have an app, go ahead and start with your logbook. A good way to do that, go back through your schedule. If you have a certain day that you go and view homes, then put the mileage for that day. Now remember, when you're taking your mileage, you don't go from your first place you don't take it from home to your first place.
Right.
You go from your second place on to your areas that you're going to be doing for your business. That's a good way to take your mileage. Another thing that I do with my clients, specifically during this time of year, is I start getting them ready for next year. We work out a projected budget. How much do you want to increase your income? You get a chance to look and see what expenses did you spend too much money on. Because a lot of times we're not paying attention to how much we're spending. And if we look at that and say, oh, I spent 30% in this area, how can I cut that? What things can I put in place now to cut that for next year? So those are the two things I would share with you that we want to do to get ready for 2025.
Can't even believe it.
Can you believe it?
2025. No.
2025.
So you're really along the journey with them. We're planning, we're preparing, we are getting our lives together, and that's where you come in, kind of as not a coach per se, but just somebody, an accountability. I don't know what you would call it, right? A tax professional, obviously.
For some people, I am their coach. For some people, I am their advisor.
Okay.
We can have many roles. If you want me with you 12 months out of the year, I am with you 12 months out of the year. Some of my clients only want me to do their taxes, and then they go in our private portal and they say, I got a question. And it's like, okay. And we answer that question.
Okay.
Some people I meet with regularly, and I hold them accountable for their tax goals, their financial goals, and we build a relationship where you're not doing this alone.
That's awesome. So for my investors, I never forget about us. So what would you say are 3 top things that investors fail to remember that can be a write-off?
You know, the number one thing I'll share, we know mileage. We just talked about mileage. Another number one thing for investors as well as for real estate professionals is hiring your kids. We miss out on that.
Because how much can they pay them?
They can pay them up to the standard deduction. This year is 13. We miss out on that. And because your kids are under 18, they don't have you don't have to report the Social Security on that. And you can take that money for your kids and invest some of it for their retirement. And you can give them their allowance or their soccer practice money or whatever. But the point is, many investors and real estate professionals miss out on that because you're just doing the work. And you're not thinking Johnny is helping you fold envelopes, or Sandy is help putting those signs out, or they're looking for the next investment property. Well, that's a job description. And so we can definitely pay our kids. For your investors, I think it's really, really key. You have a lot of networking opportunities. A lot of times that you're going to view your looking at these homes to see if it is going to be good for your market. So not only is mileage important, but be intentional about meeting with people so that you can take that write-off. Now make sure it is a real business meal write-off and you're discussing business. But sometimes as an investor, because you are moving so fast, you're not intentional about your meetings and your times together. So making that intentional effort, meeting on Monday and say, hey, I think I'm gonna meet with John so that we can make sure we're taking that as a write-off and we're having business discussions. So that's some of the things I would say, just a little of the things that we miss out on as an investor and a real estate professional.
I have two questions.
Sure.
Regarding both of the things you said. When you're paying your children and you have up to the $13,000
For this year.
for this year 2024, right?
Yes,
Okay.
it changes every year up to the standard deduction.
How do you document that? What is the best way to pay Johnny for his folding of the envelopes or whatever he's doing, and then documenting for your tax professional?
Great, that's a great question. You would need to put your children on payroll.
Okay.
The first thing that you want to do is you want to get a job description that is good for their age. Make sure that you're giving Johnny a job description that he can do. Make sure that he's actually doing it and put him on payroll. Then at the end of the year, Johnny's going to receive a W-2. He doesn't have to file it because he is your dependent. It's under the standard deduction. But I would always encourage you then to speak to your financial advisor because Johnny is getting extra money. And we know if we're investing so much a month or so much a year, then by the time Johnny is 40, 35, he could be a millionaire.
Wow.
If we've done it the right way.
Wow. Huge.
So I'm hearing the pattern here. It's only if they're your dependent. So I can't hire my niece. True or false?
Great question.
Sounds like you're putting a plan together here.
You know me, I'm always working in the back.
I would, so there is an answer to that. It's almost like a workaround answer. So I would ask what business is your sister or brother?
My brother.
Is your brother a part of your business working with you, or does he do damn things with you?
So that's
because
where
of course this is a business.
Right. So, but he would have to be the one working for me, and then in return to get my niece.
It would be the best for him to be in business with you.
Gotcha.
Or for you guys to be working together. That would be the best ideal for you.
Okay.
Because they're not your dependent. They have to be your dependent.
Gotcha.
So are you carrying your niece?
Yeah. No. No dependence at this time. No.
She probably said no dependence at this time.
No. Twisting my words. No.
So my second question to the investors or to the real estate agents, you talk about mileage a lot. What about wear and tear on the vehicle or new tires or oil changes?
Right.
Are all of those write-offs as well?
Great question. When it comes to auto and truck expenses, we can take either mileage or actual expense. And you want to work out and see which one is going to be best for you. But here's the thing. Once you put this car in service, let's just say, you get your car 2 years ago and you put that car in service 2 years ago, we have to continue the method that you started with. So you want to make sure that if the car is an older car, then actual expenses may be the way to go. But if it's a younger car, mileage may be the way to go. And if you're leasing it, you want to be careful with that because we can just write off the lease. We can't write off the other things for that.
Good.
And one thing also, when you have your assets, in real estate, your biggest asset is going to be your car. Unless you have purchased your brokerage area. Don't forget about depreciation. Depreciation is the one expense that we don't actually pay out, but we receive the benefit of the deduction for it.
Oh, yeah. and same applies with, meaning with assets, also with investors. You know, there is,
Yes.
we appreciate, but we also account for depreciate. So,
Yes. And I will say with investors, it is huge. If you are a short-term investor, keep up with when you put the property in service and when you are selling the property, because we have that short view on when it's a long-term investment, a short-term investment. And as in our tax profession, we handle those different ways. So as a real estate investment, if you are doing flip and hold, that's one way. But if you're flipping, then we need to know, you need to be very intentional about how you're keeping up with when you receive the property, when you sold the property, how much money you put out. That is, you need to be on it with your record keeping.
Right.
They definitely need to be on it.
oh, for sure.
Rolanda works hand in hand with real estate agents. I know she works with some of our real estate agents at
Yes.
First American Title. I know Mariela has referred her to many people, so she works hand in hand. If you don't have a tax professional, she is your go-to girl.
Thank you.
Yeah.
One big thing
Yeah.
that there's always this one line that I know we have a lot of social media gurus out there that like to, you know, act as tax professionals, and so I'm calling some of y'all out, but there's one phrase in particular, because a lot of people think if I have a party and I have alcohol and I have steaks and, you know, the top of the line stuff, so there's a line that the IRS specifically calls out as far as if it's within reasonable. You know what I'm talking about? It
Yeah.
comes up a lot.
So
Yeah.
when you're doing your parties, first of all, you don't want to include the alcohol for your expense. If you're going out to eat and you're having a business meeting, your ticket should pay for non-alcoholic activities in order for it to be a good deduction for you. Now, when you're having your parties, you want to make sure that it's not just a party. There needs to be a reasonable purpose for having this party. One of the key things that the IRS says with all of our deductions, is it ordinary and necessary?
There we go.
Not or, is it ordinary and necessary?
Say it again for the people in the back.
She knows exactly what
I
you're
know it.
talking about.
Yes, because I have people coming up to me all the time, like, oh, well, I can tax write off this and that. I'm like,
Is it ordinary and necessary?
and
wait a
necessary.
minute. Yeah.
So look in your industry and think about what you're doing. Is this party that you're going to have, is it ordinary for your business? And is it necessary for your business to succeed? Now, can you have a party? Yes. How you characterize that party is interesting. The agenda at the party is what you need to pay attention to. Those things are huge. So for me, it almost seems like your tax professional is drilling you, but I will ask a lot of questions, you know that. And I'm doing that to make sure that in the event that you're audited, we can substantiate what you said.
You're protecting them.
I'm protecting them and I'm protecting myself.
Absolutely.
I like to tell those that I work with, I do your taxes as if you are going to be audited. We want to have all of your receipts together. Do you have this? Or you're going to tell me you have it. Now, if you don't have it, that's something else to deal with. But I do that as you're being audited so that we can deal with those things and answer those questions now. So yes, you can have a party. Another thing, and I know we probably have to stop, but another thing I wanted to say is the Augusta rule. I don't know if you've heard of the Augusta rule. So the Augusta rule was started in Augusta, Georgia. And it really is because many people were wanting to rent out along the golf course. They wanted to rent out those houses. So the Augusta rule says that you could rent out your home for a certain amount of days, and the business owner, the homeowner, will not have to report the income. However, the business owner can report it as an expense. So there's a way that we can do that with real estate professionals or any industry, but it has to have a business purpose behind it, and that purpose must be ordinary and necessary.
I hope y'all are writing this down. I really hope y'all are. Y'all need to pay attention. And this is why she handles my tax life, because I am not about to do that. Because you never know. The IRS will audit you, and then now what? You know, so I'd rather have someone who knows everything, knows exactly what the IRS is looking for, and can handle especially me, that I'm a complicated profile. So I hand it off to her. But this is why you need a professional. Don't try to do this on your own. There's a whole set of laws, regulations, compliances that she already knows. I don't have time to research that. I couldn't possibly. That's why she is the one licensed with her profession to do these things. So yeah, greatly appreciate her work.
And it's not too late to start. So say
Right.
you've done your taxes for the past 5 or 10 years and you've kind of done them badly. It's not too late to call Rolanda.
Right.
She
Right.
will fix them. She will get it back together, make sure you are on the right track.
Not
Right,
only
definitely.
that, but she will review everything, and if she can find money, I speak. I'm her client, so she found me money. And like,
How much money are we talking?
Yeah, Look, the point is, like, she can find you whatever within your business, because all of us are very different in our businesses. So
right.
all different categories, different industries, and all that. So get with a professional who knows what they're doing. And so I highly advise you guys contact her. We will be providing her contact information at the end of this podcast, of course.
So what locations? Yes, go ahead.
One thing that I did want to say about the DIYers, those that go and do taxes on your own, there are certain, in the industry we call them discords, but there are a certain amount of expenses that would cause a red flag. And if you are mileage, we've talked about mileage a lot. If your mileage just does not make sense, I don't want to name any names, but any software, any tax DIY will let you do it because they're not stopping your measurements, because you're saying that the information that you're providing on your tax return is true and accurate. When every time we sign our tax return, we're saying this information is true and accurate. And if it's not, and you've passed the levels of making your tax return an audit, that's something you're going to have to deal with. And no professional can be liable for what you did as a self-preparer.
Scary.
That-
But it's scary, but it just confirms that we need you, because even if we're online doing our own taxes, we're signing off that we've done them correctly, and we have no idea if
Right.
we've done them correctly.
Mhm.
We're doing them to the best of our ability,
Right.
but we need Rolanda.
Yeah.
So what locations do you service? I know that that's kind of a tricky question because you can be anywhere, but is it the greater Houston area? Do you service the state of Texas?
I honestly service definitely the state of Texas, all of Houston. I have the ability to serve all 50 states. Now, if you are in a state where we have to file state taxes, I do request that we have a conversation, because state taxes are different with any state. Every state is different. But yes, I serve all of the state of Texas, all of Houston. I work virtually, and you can also come by my office if you'd like to come by my office.
What's the best way for them to book an appointment? Is it through your website or to
Yes.
call you?
Yes, you can go to my website. It's mytaxlady.net. That's mytaxlady.net, and you can go and book a call. There's a little calendar link for a new client. You can do a 15-minute free discovery call, and that's an opportunity for us to get to know each other, to talk about your business. Every business is different. It's like our DNA. Nothing is the same. So we talk about your business, your goals, your vision. I tell you about myself in addition to what we've discussed here. You may have some other questions for us. And then we'll see if we're a good fit to work together, and then we'll talk about the steps moving forward.
Okay, so earlier you discussed being an enrolled agent. Can you kind of enlighten us on what that means and why that makes you different from just the average tax professional?
Yes. An enrolled agent is one that is comparable to a CPA, except that we are enrolled to practice by the Internal Revenue Service. We have to take tests from the IRS that specialize in just taxes. A certified public accountant has 5 different areas that they need to specialize or that they need to work in, and they can choose a specialty. A lot of CPAs maybe work in audits, or they do compilations, which means they look at your books and certify that that's true. Enrolled agents are taxes. That is what we specialize in taxes. Another thing that's different about an enrolled agent, because we are certified or credentialed by the Internal Revenue Service, we handle all 50 states. Your certified public accountant is licensed in their state, so they have to abide by that state's rules. As an enrolled agent, we're all 50 states, all things taxes. That's what we do. And of course, as every other credentialed person, we have to have our CEs. That means we have to be educated on all of the tax laws. And of course, we don't know all of the tax laws, but we do know how to find your answers. We are able to practice before the Internal Revenue Service. Now, there are 3 different areas where you can practice before the Internal Revenue Service: an enrolled agent, a CPA, and a tax attorney. And enrolled agent will suffice as one of those that can talk to the IRS for you, that can get you out of IRS trouble before you go to tax court.
So in translation, from what I got from that is that she's bilingual, English and IRS. She speaks IRS. That's what I'm getting from that. I don't speak IRS. She does. So that's awesome, because when we get because we get correspondences, right? We get letters,
definitely.
and we're like, what am I reading? What is this?
Translation, please.
And so what do? I just email it to her. I scan it. Can you translate this for me? Because I don't know what's going on, and she's, again, doing my taxes, so she knows where this is coming from. She can easily tell me, oh, this is nothing, don't worry about it. It's just informative. Cool. But if it's alarming, then she's going to tell me. So she speaks IRS.
Yeah. And one last thing, let's talk about representation.
Yes, representation, or resolving your tax problems before the IRS. One of the things that I will tell people, and that's every taxpayer, when you get a letter from the Internal Revenue Service, open the letter. I get so many letters or so many calls from people that say, I have mail from the IRS. Okay, did you open it?
What does it say?
Oh no, I'm scared to. I understand that it may bring tension or anxiety, but open the letters. Once you open the letters, we'll find out what we need to do. We will resolve the issue. Like I said a few minutes ago, we can speak to the IRS on your behalf for everything up to tax court. And many times when you get that letter that they're trying to garnish wages, or that they're doing a levy, or you have 90 days or 30 days to respond, we can speak to them and calm that situation down for you so that it will not go to tax court. They won't garnish your paycheck. They won't do a levy. And many people don't realize if you owe them over $60,000, they can talk to the state about taking your passport. And that affects your business. If you owe over a certain amount, real estate professionals, they can do something about your license. So make sure, open the letter, respond, get to a professional who speaks tax, and I will be able to tell you what's going on.
No, what you mean relinquish my passport? Now I got places to be. What we not gonna do?
No, they can talk to the state and say, I want that one, please.
Ooh, no.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's insane.
Yeah.
But no.
But it doesn't have to go that far if we just open the letter.
There you go. Just open and scan it and send it to her. Do what I do.
Just do what I do.
Yes, Rolanda, this has been amazing. And talking taxes can be scary, but when you talk to a professional, it's not as scary. You know, when you have someone that knows what they're doing. So thank you so much for being a part of our podcast. Amazing. I have been your co-host, Mariela Aguirre with Terra Residential Services.
And I am your other co-host, Kayla Ewald with First American Title.
Thank you so much. Bye, y'all.
Bye.